I'm Assemblymember Amy Paulin from the 88th Assembly District, which covers parts of Westchester County, and I'm the author of the Assembly Bill to eradicate human trafficking.
I'm Sonia, Ossorio. I'm president of the National Organization for Women of New York City. Now is the oldest women's rights organization in the country. Here in New York City, we have looked at the issue of human trafficking for a number of years and worked on legislation, had campaigns, and worked to improve funding and direct services for the trafficking victims here in New York City. Well, I think it's important for people to realize that human trafficking happens everywhere. And New York City or Valley Stream, New York are no exceptions. It's alive and well here in New York, both sex trafficking and labor trafficking. And the law that was recently passed as part of the Women's Equality Act covers both labor and sex trafficking. And in terms of sex trafficking, there are several things that this law does. It gives law enforcement better tools to ensure that women do not fall through the cracks.
We knew that we needed some improvements to the existing law in the books. So what the bill covers is it increases penalties against those who commit this horrific crime, and it provides services in a more expansive way for the victims of human trafficking.
Now, up until now, the penal code would refer to prostitutes when talking about the crime of prostitution. It would say the prostitute is guilty of this when this happens. No other place in the penal code stigmatize the crime that way. We don't say the murderer, we say the person, the defendant. So now it has been changed to reflect a person in prostitution, which has even a little bit more of significance, saying that this person is possibly not there by choice as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a small change, but it's significant in terms of culture and changing people's mind frame about prostitution.
Another key element, we give the ability for investigators to wiretap. That might not seem that significant, but in the age of cell phones, the only way to really capture these people sometimes is through that mechanism, and so this enables that. So that's on the go after the pimp side of the bill.
All of these things come together to hopefully allow women to be identified as victims before they go through the court process, to give law enforcement better tools to investigate these crimes, which are very difficult to investigate, and putting stronger laws on the books showing that these are very serious crimes.
Human trafficking is human slavery, and it's modern-day human slavery. We estimate that this human trafficking business is about $32 billion annually in this country. I don't know exactly how the federal government came up with that number, but it's a very large number, so you can understand the magnitude of the problem just by hearing a number like that. Whether it's 40 billion or whether it's 20 billion, it almost doesn't matter. You can understand the magnitude. So there are all these young girls on the street, and we really have to do something to get them out of this life. And I couldn't imagine being raped once has to be one of the more horrific things that a woman would go through. To be raped 12 to 15 times a day, every day of your young life, has to be a trauma that is, it's maybe one that we can't ever hope. We'll never get it out of her memory. The only thing that we can do is to hopefully get her on a path so that she doesn't have to go through that experience anymore and live a productive life to the best of her ability. So that's really what this does. What this bill is attempting to do is to move these girls out of that life, to get these perpetrators behind bars so that they can't harm other girls.
Help is just a phone call away. You can start with 311. Those operators are trained. They can help you find resources and services. You could call the National Human Trafficking Resource Center. They have translators on hand. You can call the district attorney's offices throughout New York City, throughout New York State. Most of them have a human trafficking task force. I think that's your best bet. You can call NYPD, and you can call the National Organization for Women. We are here to help.